And staying with the tech titans, Elon Musk is now back on Twitter.
Elon Musk met with the Pope.
Pope Francis reminds the faithful that Christ is the King of the universe, who also made himself into a servant for all of us.
Known for his love for God along with his devotion to the Catholic Church, Pope Francis has always been in the good books of religious people. From holding meetings with corporate CEOs to appealing for them to use wealth and technology to help the poor,
Holy Father, good morning. So good to see you.
The Pope has worked tirelessly to show his devotion to the Church. But with a meeting with billionaire tech genius, Elon Musk, the Pope seems to have done something that was completely unexpected. What could he have done? Join us as we reveal what Pope Francis did with Elon Musk that shocked all religious people. Elon Musk's meeting with Pope Francis. Billionaire tech mogul, Elon Musk recently took to social media to express his profound joy after meeting with Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church. Elon, who had taken a brief hiatus.
Hi, everyone.
Returned to Twitter shortly after to share a rare family photo which, to everyone's surprise, included the most important figure in Vatican City.
He followed these up by posting pictures, one with his ex-wife and one with the Pope, who he had met the previous day.
In the photo attached to a tweet, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX can be seen with sons Griffin and triplets Kai, Damien, and Saxon posing with the Pope during a recent trip to Italy. Fans of the tech genius immediately went into a frenzy, sharing in the billionaire's excitement, but not everyone was pleased by the unexpected meeting. Let's find out why. According to Italian newspaper La Repubblica, the businessman and the pontiff had a 40-minute meeting at Casa Santa Marta in Vatican City. During the private meeting that involved few people, Elon talked at large about his ideas on improving the world and humanity. Unsurprisingly, the Pope was very pleased to hear Elon was not just creating technological advancements for his own gain, but for the good of mankind. Aside from being the head of the Holy See, overseeing the smooth running of Vatican City and Catholicism, Pope Francis has always placed the Church at the top of his priorities. This self-assigned task has led the Pope to engage in private audiences with influential people in the society, aiming to use their wealth, along with the advanced technology they possess, to help the less privileged and the Church at large. Talking to Elon Musk, the Pope quickly realized they both had much in common, but above all, they had an interest in ecology. Elon's interest in taking steps towards the betterment of lives made Francis glad he had scheduled a private meeting with the billionaire irrespective of what had happened during the week. The Pope had initially canceled a meeting the day before with the International Jewish Committee for Interreligious Consultations because of a flare-up of his knee pain. The Argentine Pope has been suffering from strained ligaments in his right knee for years, and on doctor's orders, has even used a wheelchair and a cane to get around so he can let it heal.
Pope Francis has arrived at an audience in a wheelchair as his knee pain continues to limit his mobility.
The limits on his mobility have spurred a predictable round of media speculation about his health and a future conclave, but a close collaborator recently said the Pope is better than ever and is undergoing 2 hours of physiotherapy a day. But Pope Francis's canceled appearance came after he had recently shown some improvement in his mobility, walking with a cane at the Mass for the feast of St. Peter and Paul. In the weeks before the appointment was scheduled to happen, Pope Francis had complained of an inflammation of the ligament in his right knee. At one general audience, he went as far as to apologize to the faithful after informing them that he would not be able to move among them to bring his personal greetings. According to Francis, the problem was temporary, and his doctors said it only happened to old people, but he wasn't aware why it happened to him since he was nowhere close to that category. With the Pope's health not at its best, Cardinal Kurt Koch, the president of the Commission for Religious Relations with the Jews, ended up representing the Pope at the interreligious meeting at the Vatican. Koch delivered a speech that the Pope had prepared in advance for the audience and expressed the Pope's heartfelt apology for his absence. Although the meeting went well, the Pope was missed, and the committee extended their greetings and best wishes to him, but it didn't end there. Moving back to the meeting with Elon, both members of the Catholic Church and other Christians didn't hesitate to express their dislike for what had transpired. The Pope's attendance at the interreligious meeting was needed due to the impact he had on the Christianity religion, but things didn't go according to plan. To make matters worse, after his cancellation, the Pope had then agreed to meet up with Elon Musk in a meeting too private for the public. Not only that, the Vatican has also not publicly acknowledged that the meeting took place. The private meeting was not listed in the Pope's schedule, which usually includes private audiences, and the Holy See press office has not responded to a request for comment on the meeting. Whatever was discussed during the 40-minute-long meeting, the Pope doesn't seem to be willing to want to share with the public. This hesitancy has led religious people to feel the Pope might be involving himself in something not pleasing to God or beneficial to the Church. It was also noted by them that in previous years, the Pope had received leaders of major companies on several occasions, including Google's Eric Schmidt, Apple's Tim Cook, and Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. These meetings have often caused controversy because of the contradictions between the Church's social doctrine and the ideological positioning of these companies, particularly on issues of bioethics and tax evasion. But the Pope doesn't seem to mind, or maybe his focus is on something entirely different. Regardless of what his reasons may be, Christians are not in support, and they are definitely not pleased with Elon Musk, the South African-born American billionaire, who was baptized an Anglican but defines himself as an atheist. Let's dive deeper into this. The origin of Elon Musk's beliefs. Known for his extraordinary achievements in the tech industry, Elon Musk has always been in the spotlight ever since he rose to fame. Ranging from astounding inventions to being the CEO of different multinational companies, the South African-born American billionaire has successfully made a name for himself. But with his life constantly under the watchful eyes of the media, it came as a surprise to everyone to learn the billionaire, who was baptized an Anglican at an early age, had once been tagged as an atheist by members of the community. Although those days are far behind him, and Elon now identifies as a cultural Christian, it still causes us to wonder what had caused him to stop believing in God. Well, let's find out what happened. Taking a look at Elon's shift towards atheism, it is clear to see where it all started to go wrong. The Tesla CEO's dad, Elon Musk, explained that his son was baptized at a Methodist congregation before the family joined the Anglican Church. Speaking from his home in South Africa, the retired electromechanical engineer pointed out that although Elon has been heard to say he's sort of an atheist, he was actually very God-minded as a child. Errol went on to add that Elon would always refer to what the Lord Jesus would think of you if you did something bad, which showed his deep connection with God. But there was something about the young Elon that made Errol and everyone around him have a rethink regarding his belief in God and the Lord Jesus. When Elon was growing up in South Africa, his mother would take him to the local Anglican church, where she was a teacher. Elon's mom, Mai Musk, would share stories from the Bible, and Elon would question each and every one. When he was told the story of the parting of the Red Sea, for example, his response was different from what had been expected. Instead of expressing awe like every other kid, Elon questioned the meaning of the waters parting, calling it impossible and untrue. When May told the story of Jesus feeding the crowd with loaves and fishes, Elon countered again, saying that things cannot materialize out of nothing. Elon also recalled taking communion and wondered if eating the blood and body of Christ was a weird metaphor for cannibalism, but that was just the beginning. Growing up, Elon started to dismiss the idea of an all-powerful God that judged the actions of individual humans, the type of pronouncement that made him a hero for the atheist community. He believed that although there are things we don't understand about the universe, he is not convinced that there's some superconsciousness watching over our every movement. The billionaire believed that if there was some superconsciousness, we would have known where it came from with all the advancements in technology. So the most likely explanation for the lack of knowledge was that complexity evolved from simplicity, and simple elements over time combined to become more complicated, leading to our existence. However, in a recent interview with Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson, Elon admitted admiration for Christianity. During the conversation, Musk did not address whether he believed in God, but noted that he was not a practicing Christian. Although he was baptized and brought up Anglican, He explained to Peterson that he experienced a crisis of meaning in early adolescence that prompted him to read the texts of major religions and philosophical movements, but at the time, none of them really seemed to have answers that resonated. He found a more satisfying answer in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy's message that what matters is asking the right questions, and that curiosity itself is more important than finding the answers. Keep watching, because this next part is sure to keep you glued to your screens. Embracing a new religion and a different belief. Elon came to believe that science could explain things, and so there was no need to conjure up a creator or a deity that would intervene in our lives. This belief led to a newly found religion, the religion of curiosity, the religion of greater enlightenment, the goal of which is to expand consciousness, a goal that ties in with his work in artificial intelligence, but with time, as he stated during the interview, Elon's views on religion have shifted pretty significantly with him having beliefs in the teachings of Jesus, specifically in concepts like love thy neighbor and turn the other cheek. According to Futurism, the recent statement of Elon Musk actually suggests that he is aligning himself with the Christian right, specifically following his major financial and political support for U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Elon Musk has also reportedly emphasized on the importance of forgiveness while attributing global conflicts to a lack of it while engaging in a project in Pennsylvania. This newfound religion path of Elon Musk completely differs from his past behavior and statements. On more than one occasion, the billionaire has made controversial remarks about marginalized groups coupled with a history of engaging in aggressive business practices. Futurism noted that according to the critics, Elon Musk's embrace of Christianity seems really like a ploy which is eventually aimed at gaining favor from the groups he had once belittled, rather than stemming from genuine faith. Futurism also pointed out that in spite of his recent claims of valuing principles of Christianity, the actions of Elon Musk often contradict with these beliefs. The history of Elon Musk's comments and personal conduct raises severe questions about the sincerity of his conversion to the ideals of cultural Christianity. Cultural Christianity recognizes that the blessings of a Christian worldview do extend beyond the community of actual believers. Elon believes strongly in these views, and within days of claiming the cultural Christian title, Musk pointed out that unless there is more bravery to stand up for what is fair and right, Christianity will perish. Elon went on to note that the collapse of religion is leading to low birth rates that could drastically alter the future of civilization. According to him, when a culture loses its religion, it starts to experience a decline in numbers and potentially disappears. Elon also argued that Christian beliefs result in the greatest happiness for humanity, considering not just the present, but all future humans. With all these in mind, the billionaire sees himself as a big believer in the principles of Christianity. He feels they are good, and as a cultural Christian, he can freely enjoy the benefits of Christianity without actively being a part of the religion. At the end of the day, the thing that determines the direction of Elon's moral compass seems to be money. Elon has switched on a number of issues, from content moderation on Twitter to the effect of climate change on humanity, and also his constantly changing belief system. But what these issues all have in common is that Elon's views seem to be swayed most of all by his never-ending pursuit of profit. Pope Francis, the globally respected head of the Catholic Church, follows traditional Christian teachings, including those related to eschatology. Backed by his in-depth knowledge about the Antichrist, he has just revealed the Antichrist has arrived and is silently lurking, waiting for the right time to expose itself. While Pope Francis has spoken countless times about the importance of discernment and the battle between good and the Antichrist's evil, his teachings often emphasize issues like social justice, care for the environment, and mercy. He has also linked the concept of the 10 kings in biblical prophecy with his revelation about the end times and the Antichrist. Besides Pope Francis, several theories also talk about the Antichrist. These include the rich billionaire theory, the religious leader theory, the political leader theory, and the apostate church leader theory. The rich billionaire Antichrist theory is a speculative interpretation of biblical prophecies that suggests the Antichrist will emerge as a wealthy billionaire wielding vast economic and political influence. Some proponents of this theory draw connections between certain biblical verses and characteristics commonly associated with the lifestyles of affluent individuals. One key aspect often referenced is the idea that the Antichrist will be a charismatic and influential figure capable of uniting people under a charismatic guise. This aligns with the notion that a wealthy and powerful individual could sway public opinion and amass a following. It's essential to approach these interpretations cautiously, as biblical prophecy is inherently open to diverse interpretations, and the notion of a wealthy Antichrist is just one among many. A verse often cited in discussions about the Antichrist is found in the book of Revelation, specifically Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18, where it says that the wealthy billionaire will force everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and enslaved person, to receive a mark on his right hand or his forehead, so that no one could do anything unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. The Bible mentions that this calls for wisdom, so if anyone has insight, he needs to remember the number of the beast, which is 666. Interpreters of this verse may emphasize the economic control aspect of this passage, linking it to the potential influence a wealthy figure could exert over global commerce and trade. When examining the rich billionaire Antichrist theory, some proponents point to various biblical passages that, when interpreted in a specific way, align with the characteristics of a wealthy and influential individual taking on the role of the Antichrist. In addition to Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18, citing this theory, other verses about the Antichrist focus on the idea that the Antichrist will seek to change established norms and laws, potentially using their wealth and influence to reshape societal structures. Many scholars and religious authorities caution against overly specific identifications of the Antichrist and emphasize apocalyptic literature's symbolic and metaphorical nature. The second Antichrist theory is the concept of the Antichrist as a religious leader. It is a fascinating and complex aspect of eschatology that has led many to distrust religious leaders. Biblical verses and interpretations contribute to the theory of a spiritual leader embodying the Antichrist. In 2 Thessalonians verses 3-4, the Apostle Paul, in his second letter to the Thessalonians, discusses the coming of the man of lawlessness, or the son of destruction, who opposes and exalts himself above every so-called God or object of worship. This passage has been interpreted by some as referring to the Antichrist, suggesting a religious leader with sinful tendencies. The Apostle John warns again in 1 John chapter 2 verses 18 to 22 about the coming of antichrists and describes them as those who deny Jesus as Christ. While these verses may not explicitly point to a single figure, they contribute to the broader understanding of antichrists in the plural, fostering the idea that the Antichrist could be a charismatic figure leading people away from traditional Christian beliefs. In Jesus Christ's discourse on the end times in Matthew 24, he warns of false prophets who will perform great signs and wonders, deceiving, if possible, even the elect. This can be interpreted as a cautionary note about charismatic leaders who might mislead people, laying the groundwork for the concept of an antichrist who deceives through religious charisma. The idea of a spiritual leader as the Antichrist is often intertwined with broader discussions about the nature of the end times, the second coming of Christ, and the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. Scholars and theologians throughout history have offered diverse perspectives on these passages, contributing to the rich tapestry of eschatological thought within Christianity. The third theory that the Antichrist could manifest as a political leader is another intriguing facet of eschatological interpretations within modern Christianity. Given the religious undertones of the Antichrist narrative, there's an exploration of the idea that a political leader may engage in interfaith diplomacy, presenting a facade of unity while subtly undermining core religious beliefs. This aligns with biblical warnings about false prophets and deceivers. Throughout history, After the biblical period, various figures have been identified as potential antichrists, often tied to political power. For instance, some viewed Pope Innocent III as an antichrist figure during the medieval period due to his political influence. Similarly, figures like Napoleon Bonaparte and Adolf Hitler have been proposed as modern analogies to the Antichrist, given their significant political impact and the upheaval they caused. Apart from the Book of Revelations, the Book of Daniel is known for discussing the Antichrist. What does it say about the figure and its arrival? While Antichrist is not explicitly used in the Book of Daniel, Chapter 8 presents a vision of a goat representing an influential political leader who becomes exceedingly great. This leader is fierce, making dark comments and causing mighty destruction. Some interpreters connect these verses to the Antichrist, suggesting a political leader who rises to prominence with cunning and destructive power. The Book of Daniel in the Old Testament also presents visions of beasts and rulers. Chapter 7, verses 8, 20, and 25 mention a boastful horn speaking great things and making war against the saints. Some connect this imagery to the Antichrist, proposing a parallel with a charismatic religious leader who rises to power and persecutes believers. Daniel 11 then foretells a king who exalts himself above every god, speaking astonishing things against the God of gods. This leader shows no regard for the desire of women, which has been debated among scholars, but is often seen as a characteristic of the Antichrist. The focus on political and military power in these verses aligns with the concept of a political leader as the Antichrist. The Apostle Paul, in his first ever letter to Timothy, spoke of the Spirit expressly warning that in later times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. While not explicitly mentioning the Antichrist, this passage contributes to the broader idea of deception and a departure from true faith, elements often associated with a political figure who leads people astray. There's a famous theory that the Antichrist might emerge from within the church as an apostate leader. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus warned about false prophets who come in sheep's clothing, but are ravenous wolves inwardly. This verse sets the stage for the idea that a deceptive leader could emerge from within the church, posing as a faithful shepherd while harboring destructive intentions. In the Olivet Discourse, Jesus prophesied about the end times, mentioning false prophets rising and leading many astray. This verse aligns with the idea that the Antichrist might not be an external enemy, but could emerge from within the church, using religious authority to deceive believers. The Apostle Peter also warned about false prophets and teachers who will secretly bring destructive heresies, denying the Lord who bought them. His prophecy adds to the narrative of internal corruption within the church, potentially paving the way for an apostate leader who opposes authentic Christian teachings. These biblical references collectively contribute to the theory that the Antichrist could emerge as an apostate church leader before transitioning into a political figure. The idea of an apostate church leader as the Antichrist highlights the potential dangers of spiritual deception and the importance of discernment within Christian communities. Besides being a real human, what other form has the Antichrist been predicted to take? Some eschatological theorists propose that the Antichrist may manifest as an extraterrestrial being. Imagine a scenario where the Antichrist, cunning and deceptive, adopts an alien guise to infiltrate humanity, weaving a cosmic web of deception. This speculative concept introduces a sci-fi twist to eschatological narratives, blending extraterrestrial intrigue with the biblical notion of the Antichrist. Picture the Antichrist utilizing advanced alien technology to disguise its true identity. This isn't your typical Men in the Black scenario. We're talking about frequent shape-shifting, holographic illusions, and an ability to seamlessly blend into human society, making the invasion subtle yet profound. The Antichrist, in its alien disguise, is believed to assume a seemingly human existence where it walks among us, talks like us, and even partakes in the human experience. This sophisticated deception has raised questions about identity, ethics, and the boundaries between humanity and the unknown. To further the act, the Antichrist adopts human culture, attending social events, participating in global politics, and even engaging in philanthropy. This masquerade involves mimicking human appearance and embodying our societal norms and values. Advanced alien capabilities extend beyond the physical realm. The Antichrist, in its extraterrestrial form, could possess mind-controlling abilities, manipulating individuals and global events to align with its nefarious agenda. This raises the stakes, as humanity becomes unwitting pawns in a cosmic chess game. The Antichrist's grand deception isn't limited to a local conspiracy. It is a global charade. Imagine world leaders, celebrities, and influential figures unknowingly following the lead of this alien in human guise. The world becomes a stage, and the Antichrist orchestrates a grand performance. Beyond the physical realm, the Antichrist's deception extends into the spiritual. It presents itself as a figure of enlightenment, offering alternate paths to salvation and spiritual fulfillment. This creates a cosmic clash between genuine faith and the seductive allure of the impostor. The peak of this narrative involves the gradual unveiling of the cosmic conspiracy. The Antichrist's disguise falters as humanity unravels the truth, revealing an evil extraterrestrial force manipulating human history. The revelation prompts an existential reflection on what it means to be human. The blurred lines between reality and illusion, human and alien, raise profound questions about identity, trust, and the nature of good and evil. This imaginative, strange scenario combines elements of biblical prophecy with the intrigue of alien deception, creating a thought-provoking narrative that challenges conventional ideas about the end times. It invites contemplation on the nature of deception, the vulnerability of humanity, and the blurred boundaries between the familiar and the unknown in the cosmic tapestry of existence. The scenario of people worshipping an alien, deceived into believing it's human, and subsequently recognizing it as the Antichrist, presents a vivid and captivating image rooted in speculative eschatological thought. This imaginative narrative often draws on the idea that advanced extraterrestrial beings could use their technology, charisma, or deceptive abilities to manipulate and lead humanity astray. To solidify its tricky influence, the alien might perform awe-inspiring miracles or display advanced technological feats beyond human comprehension. These demonstrations could include healing, telepathy, or even manipulating matter, creating an atmosphere of wonder and reverence among its followers. As news of these miraculous events spreads globally, the alien figure gains widespread adoration and a dedicated following. People from various cultures and backgrounds are drawn to the promise of a utopian future under the guidance of this seemingly benevolent being. The alien might weave together elements of different religious and spiritual traditions, presenting itself as a unifying force that transcends existing divisions. Its teachings could incorporate universal themes, fostering a sense of spiritual unity among its followers. The alien might even go as far as introducing innovations that revolutionize society, solving global issues and gaining even more devotion. These technological marvels could range from sustainable energy solutions to medical breakthroughs, enhancing the allure of the alien figure. The alien's arrival might have already coincided with the current global crisis, such as the ongoing Israel-Gaza war, making its promises of salvation and prosperity particularly appealing. In times of uncertainty, people might be more susceptible to charismatic leaders offering hope and direction. The realization that the exonerated figure is the Antichrist could unfold gradually. Subtle signs or moments of moral ambiguity might be dismissed initially, but as the alien's true nature becomes evident, a sense of collective shock and disillusionment could grip its followers. The revelation of the alien's true identity could spark a profound crisis of faith among its followers, leading them to question their beliefs and confront the stark contrast between the promised utopia and the emerging reality of deception and manipulation. This extraterrestrial scenario taps into themes of charismatic leadership, the power of technological advancements, and the vulnerability of humanity in the face of profound change. While such a narrative is speculative and firmly rooted in science fiction and esoteric theology, it serves as a thought-provoking exploration of the complexities surrounding belief, deception, and the potential consequences of blind devotion. That aside, we can't forget to mention the rebuilding of the Roman Empire Antichrist theory. It often emerges from historical, geopolitical, and cultural analysis rather than direct scriptural interpretation. The idea of the Antichrist rebuilding the Roman Empire often draws inspiration from the historical significance and power of the original Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, known for its vast influence, military might, and political dominance, collapsed over centuries. The theory speculates that a charismatic world leader, identified as the Antichrist, would emerge to restore a form of global power akin to the Roman Empire. Proponents of this theory may point to historical parallels where leaders sought to establish a universal or hegemonic authority. Comparisons might be drawn with historical conquerors who aimed to unify diverse regions under a single rule, evoking the idea that the Antichrist could follow a similar path in a contemporary context. Rome is often seen as a symbol of power, governance, and cultural influence. The theory suggests that the Antichrist might metaphorically or physically rebuild aspects of the Roman Empire in an attempt to consolidate global authority. This could involve political alliances, economic influence, or even a centralized world government. The enduring cultural legacy of Rome, visible in architecture, governance models, and legal systems, adds depth to the theory. The Antichrist, in rebuilding the Roman Empire, might be perceived as adopting or adapting certain cultural and institutional elements that echo the historical empire. In the modern era, globalization has led to interconnectedness on an unprecedented scale. The theory suggests that the Antichrist, utilizing contemporary tools of globalization, economic alliances, digital communication, and political influence, could create a global empire reminiscent of the Roman model. Advances in technology and communication are also considered critical components in the theory. The Antichrist might exploit technological tools for surveillance, control, and manipulation, creating a global empire where information, economies, and even individual lives are tightly regulated. The Antichrist, according to this theory, would be a master strategist in the political arena, forging alliances, manipulating geopolitical dynamics, and exploiting crises to advance their agenda. The emphasis is on political cunning and the ability to navigate the complexities of international relations. Economic power is seen as a critical tool for rebuilding the Roman Empire in a modern context. The Antichrist might exert control through economic systems, trade agreements, and financial institutions, creating a global economic order under their sway. And finally, the spirit of Antichrist theory is a theological concept that extends beyond specific biblical references and explores a more pervasive and subtle influence that opposes the principles of Christ. This theory suggests that the spirit of the Antichrist is not limited to a single figure, but manifests in various forms, ideologies, and behaviors that are contrary to the teachings of Christianity. The spirit of the Antichrist concept has roots in early Christian theology, gaining prominence in discussions about the nature of evil, deception, and opposition to Christ. It has evolved over centuries as theologians grappled with the complexities of spiritual warfare and the challenges believers face. The spirit of Antichrist is often seen as a pervasive force that subtly influences individuals, societies, and ideologies. It's not necessarily tied to a specific person, but can manifest through ideas and actions that oppose or distort Christian values. This theory suggests that the spirit of the Antichrist involves a denial or distortion of the core tenets of Christianity, including the divinity of Christ, the redemptive nature of his sacrifice, and the authority of biblical teachings. It can manifest in ideologies that undermine or reject these foundational beliefs. The spirit of the Antichrist is thought to be present in ideologies or movements that are explicitly anti-Christian or seek to suppress religious freedoms. This could include secular ideologies that marginalize religious beliefs or extremist views that actively oppose Christianity. Another facet of the theory involves identifying the spirit of the Antichrist in moral and ethical contradictions that contradict Christian teachings. This could encompass societal trends, cultural norms, or individual behaviors that promote values inconsistent with Christian ethics. In contemporary discussions, the spirit of Antichrist theory has been applied to various contexts, including the secularization of societies, the rise of atheistic ideologies, and the erosion of traditional moral values. Some see it as a lens through which to analyze cultural shifts and political movements that challenge or undermine Christian principles. Critics of the spirit of Antichrist theory argue that it can be overly broad and subjective, leading to the labeling of diverse beliefs or behaviors as anti-Christian. Additionally, the lack of specificity makes it challenging to pinpoint clear criteria for identifying the spirit of the Antichrist in different contexts. From being baptized an Anglican to discovering his own religion and finally embracing Christianity once again, do you think Elon Musk would be able to maintain his status as a cultural Christian? Or will he make another shift? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click on the next video on your screen. You will enjoy it.